Hey guys, and welcome in today's How Not To episode. Because, well, you know those things on YouTube where people show you how you can choose stuff and install stuff and everything is great? Well, this was supposed to be a video like that, featuring this guy, the Be Quiet Dark Rock Elite, a 280 watts TDP air cooler for your CPU, but it's a behemoth one that I just basically got on sale because I'm not sponsored by Be Quiet, and I plan to install inside my rig. I have a full-fledged tower, and I was thinking that maybe there's a very slim chance that margins are going to be an issue. But you know what? I couldn't get it to fit because, well, the clearances are atrocious. So that's why I'm hoping that in this video, you can at least learn what's going to happen if you don't do your due diligence to research ahead of time, maybe twice or three times, measure things out, and, you know, with a bit of luck, maybe everything just squeezes in just nicely. Because those clearances are absolutely small, and you have to be a little bit lucky as well if you're planning to use especially air coolers, which are huge these days. Alright, so here we have the Be Quiet Dark Rock Elite. This is a 280 watt CDP CPU cooler, works both for AMD and Intel. And by the size of the box, I mean, this is my fist, it is quite big. So yeah, that should tell us something about its power, I would say. Let's take it out of the box and see what we get with it anyways. I think this is our, you know, our accessory pouch right here. Let's see what we get with it. Should be a bunch of hardware. Yeah, there we go, like the base and Intel and AMD hardware. There's all the knickknacks in here. I probably won't use any of them because, well, I have my own thermal paste and I already have a AMD bracket on the motherboard. But we'll get back to that once we've mounted inside the computer. Let's just see for the moment what we get in the box. A nicely branded Be Quiet screwdriver, apparently, with a magnetic tip. Okay, that's a nice addition, Be Quiet. Alright, so this is our big boy right here. And as you can see, wow, yes, it is quite beefy. I will give you that. So I guess this is the top shroud right here. Let's just put this as it is. And probably this just removes, because there's a bunch of other things holding it in place here. The big fan assembly for one. There we go. Alright. So that's your mid fan. This is your actual cooling towers right here. These are very big and beefy, and I like to see that. I like this fan here, which also has a shroud that I would suspect is for basically deliver the airflow nice and smooth inside the cooling elements so that you don't get any turbulent air around it, and that's pretty nice and thoughtful from Be Quiet. I wouldn't expect actually anything less from this. Germans are Germans for a reason. Sometimes. Okay, so it doesn't seem overly complicated. Since I already have the mounting solution on the motherboard, basically I would think that you'll have to just hook this up in here and use the screws that it comes with to basically attach it. Or this is just attaching magnetically. Oh yeah, this attaches magnetically to it. That's pretty cool. Since I'm just doing this for the purpose of this video to test out this CPU cooler from Be Quiet, the one that I have right here, I'm basically just going to toss this to the side. I'm not going to remove the whole AIO system because I do plan to keep it on in there as well, and just have the option to swap it out in the future, or maybe make a workbench out of this or a workstation. So yeah, I just want to keep my options open. So that's why I'm not going to be removing it entirely. I'm just going to be removing the head and basically removing the headers so that I have access to hook up the fans for this assembly. So let's go ahead and remove these two screws right here so that I can remove this assembly. I was using the Cryonaut here, so that's the good stuff. For this video though, I'm not going to be using the best thermal paste because, well, it's expensive, let's face it. So I just got something a bit more average, which should still get us some decent results, I would say. Alright, so that's off, and I also need to remove, well, this little guy, which surprisingly is stuck here behind the motherboard somehow. Let's see here what's going on. Now I do have to clean up all the gooch from here, which I will in a second. There we go. Let's clean it up as best we can, just not to dirty anything. And since I'm dealing with all that thermal compound, hence the gloves for this thing here. So, as you can see, I already have the mounting solution, which is this. This is for AMD. So this just should plug in nice and well should be ready to plug and play into position, and that's pretty cool. I'll just do a better job. I'll just take my time to do a better job at cleaning this well old thermal paste out of here before installing the new guys. So this might take about a minute or so. This guy is actually hitting because of this. Well, that's something I didn't expect. Apparently this guy, well, can't fit in like this, in this orientation, which is the normal way the airflow comes into the computer, because, well, the shroud here just doesn't have enough space because of the CPU, because of the RAM sticks. Even taking one RAM stick out, you still don't have enough clearance for that. Let's have a better look. So, yeah, there's my issue, and as you can see, we are just hitting well, that RAM stick over there, because if we are going to use this orientation with these two holes lining up right like that, yeah, that's not happening. I even took out one of the RAM sticks, and I even took out this RAM stick right here, which was actually sitting right about there. And yeah, that doesn't help. So we have to change the orientation, probably because of the way this mounts. I'm trying to put it like this to have a bit more space on both sides, but we have to basically swap out the support or the brackets that sit on the motherboard. And as you can see, they are sitting this way, so they're facing, well, the way of the airflow. Doesn't really matter with an AIO, but it definitely matters with one of these. And it's not going to be the ideal way to go, but I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can still land this on this motherboard. That's why I was talking about having a big PC that will give you plenty of space for something like this, because even though this is quite efficient, it does take a lot of space. So yeah, it is what it is. Alright, so a new plan of action is required because, well, it's too big to fit inside my big boy's rig. Yes, well, okay, so the gloves are off for this one. Well, this guy is way too big to face the right way. Let me just remove this middle part here so I can show you what's going on. And alright, so this is the actual cooling tower itself. Those are the support brackets right down there, and if I sit them on there, basically I am going to hit, well, right here, the stick of RAM. But even if I take that one off, well, it still doesn't fit. And the only actual way that I can actually mount this is the other way around, where I'm at the limit right there, but I'm definitely on the support mounts here. Let me just try and get in there and show you. All right, so here we are right on top of things. This is the support bracket. We are exactly on it, just waiting to screw it down. We have just about enough clearance here in order to tighten that down and basically get a good press on the CPU. And of course, well, we are okay on the other side, but most importantly, we are okay on this side, just barely enough clearance. But yeah, I think that this is the way to go. Between this RAM stick right here and this one right here, this is a 4 RAM stick slot. I mean, this is a motherboard that supports quad RAM operations, and basically, yeah, if you had that, well, tough luck. There's no way you can get the RAM stick underneath that, even without the heatsink. So yeah, this bears in mind. Take care of the measurements of your case before going out and purchasing something like this, because, well, this can be quite finicky to put in there. I do have to make another mention here. This is an exhaust fan because, well, this is the back of the machine, as you can see, and this is the front. Just ignore this, as I said before. And yeah, so this is an exhaust fan. I'll have to switch this around so that I'll basically make it into an intake fan so that I can use this, because this is an intake fan as well. And we'll have the air just go through like this. And then I'll use the fans, well, from my existing AIO. You might not have that, but there could be just some fans up top there that are going to take away, or basically are going to take away the hot air being exhausted this way and upwards towards the back, or I should say towards the top of the case, because these are intake fans as well. But anyway, this is just a video trying to show you how you can fit this in and basically show you some sort of performance metrics of this guy. Although the air is going to be quite turbulent in here, so yeah, I'm waiting for those comments. But let's just crack on with it. So just to get a quick breakdown why this is inverted and how it's actually operating, because it doesn't fit. I have a problem with my RAM sticks in here being in the way when it comes to the shroud. I reoriented this fan, so now it's, although this is the back of the computer right here, this is actually sucking air in. This is basically taking air in. This can only go one way because, well, the other fan that sits here in the middle, that's also directing airflow this way. So all of these three fans are doing the same thing and basically expelling the hot air up here or towards the front of the case where these fans are switched off, because, well, I'll have those fans running which basically suck air back on top of the machine. So, well, the hot air will be exhausted upwards. So anyway, this has a logical airflow going through it. So this test, even though it's, it is what it is, the MacGyver stuff. Anyway, I'm just doing this test for this. It doesn't matter that this is upside down. The airflow is doing its right thing. So we're fine for testing and seeing some results of this guy. As per, the only other problem that I had were basically, well, the leads coming from the fans. They're piggybacked together here. This lead here, well, leads to an extension of mine, because this should actually go right up here where we have the CPU. There we go. That's the CPU fan connector. Well, it can't reach down. It can't reach all the way up there from down here. So I had to basically move, well, that port right there using, well, an extension that I have from Deepcool right here. So this is taking the CPU signal and basically I can plug into it right down here. So this is not a normal setup by any means. This here, yeah, don't get into that. I'm just trying to see if this works and how well it works. I have the airflow managed in the correct way. That's really important. It's set down correctly there on the CPU. And it does have two modes of operation. We're gonna start off with, well, if you remove this shroud here, you can actually see that there's two modes of operation. Probably that's quiet and that's performance. Of course, my CPU cooler is sitting the other way around, so those are inverted. But regardless, anyway, I got this working, even though it's Frankenstein together, and I'm dying to see how well it behaves. Alright, so my next fitment issue is basically with the GPU, because I have the wire coming down, straight down to where my hub is. So basically I am in the way of this PCIe port here, so there's no way basically for me to move this to the side, because then it will not reach. So it's getting all complicated. I know I have, well, this is a big GPU, but many of us actually have, well, quite beefy GPUs, because this is the trend nowadays. So this is not working out at all. I think this basically kind of turned into a how not to install a cooler that is way too big for the case, and definitely the key takeaway from this video should be for you to basically make double sure, triple sure that you're not gonna run into any sort of clearance issues, because then you're gonna have to MacGyver your way around like I just tried right here, and in the end this is not the appropriate way to do it. And then you're gonna have things like, you know, this being upside down, and they're gonna bother you so much that, you know what, it's not worth the hassle. Just make sure that you get the right products that actually fit your case. And even if you do have a big case and a big motherboard like I do here, apparently with these big coolers still can be, clearance can still be an issue, as you can see right here. So make your own due diligence. Take into consideration everything, measure everything, and yeah, just check out how not to do things, maybe, well, here on my channel, because you know what, we are all people, we all make mistakes. I'm not afraid to share this video. This is a mistake, and yeah, you definitely should not do things like this. Learn from my mistake, and let's carry on. So, after trying to install the GPU and basically seeing that the cable was in the way of the PCIe slot, and I basically couldn't route the cable any other way, that's where I decided to draw the line, because it wasn't really feasible for me to install this. Even though I flipped that fan and routed the cable and used an extension and went through all the trouble, probably I could have made it work, but it's definitely not the right way. I mean, you see, you can have a slew of problems from your cables not reaching the headers, from the orientation of the overall fans in there that you have to swap around, and it's all just a big mess. And at the end of the day, even if you get your airflow straight in the case and the product works, you can have a problem with things that can drive you crazy, like they would drive me crazy with the logo, the Be Quiet logo, which was upside down because, well, it wasn't sitting in the right orientation. So a lot of problems can arise from you not doing your due diligence and not choosing the, well, spec out the correct components for your PC. Especially if you're running some sort of I don't know, micro factor as a PC case, then definitely these issues are going to be times 100. Guys, what can I say? I always tell you, I'm just a regular Joe like you guys. YouTube is just a way for me to, speak my mind out there. But yeah, if you like this sort of videos, you know what to do. Maybe show your support. Drop me a comment down in the box below. In the meantime, stay awesome, guys. I hope you learned anything, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.